All right, let's dive deep today. We're going to crack the code of conversation.
Ooh, I like that. Crack the code of conversation.
Yeah, we're using Leo Lowndes' How to Talk to Anyone as our guide, specifically the preface and part 8.
Oh, good choices. Good choices.
This book, let me tell you, it's packed with techniques.
More than you can shake a stick at.
It really is, like a spy's gadget belt.
It's a really cool exploration, of how communication works and how we can, make it work for us. You're right. It's incredibly practical.
I love anything that promises to turn me into, a social superhero.
Right.
And that's basically what Lowndes is saying, right?
Yeah.
In the preface.
Yeah. She makes some big promises.
She says mastering these techniques can transform your social life for just 48 hours.
Wow. 48 hours, that's pretty fast.
I don't know if I buy that timeline.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
But the idea that we can learn to be better communicators, that's exciting to me.
It is. And it really speaks to, I think, a core truth about human behavior. I think we tend to think of communication as this innate skill, but in reality, it's a set of skills, right, that we can hone and develop just like any other.
That's so true. And I think that's what makes, this deep dive so relevant for our listener. You might be prepping for a big networking event,
Sure.
maybe a job interview, or even just wanting to feel more confident at your next holiday party.
Yeah, we can all relate to that.
Whatever your goal is, these techniques can help you get there.
Absolutely. And, I find it really interesting how Lowndes, she draws inspiration from kind of unexpected sources like politicians.
Oh, yeah.
Part 8, it focuses on how they work a room,
Uh-huh.
and it's honestly brilliant.
It's the 6-point party checklist, right?
Yes,
This is where things get really juicy.
it is. It gets very specific.
Lowndes, she reveals how politicians use a strategic mindset. Most people wouldn't even consider it.
It's true. It's like they have the secret playbook for social success. And, we might not all be aspiring politicians, but, the principles behind their approach, they're surprisingly applicable to everyday life.
Okay, let's break it down. Point 1, who? Politicians, they don't just wander into a party hoping to bump into the right people.
No, they're very intentional.
They do their homework.
They do. They do. They figure out exactly who they need to connect with.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to, ask the host for a guest list or even reach out to potential contacts beforehand.
So it flips the script
Yeah,
on how we typically approach, these social situations.
it does. It does.
We often just kind of go in passively,
Yeah.
hoping to make connections, serendipitously.
Right, right. Just hoping to bump into the right person.
But politicians, on the other hand, they're proactive.
Yeah.
They've identified their goals, and they take targeted action to achieve them.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
targeted action.
So the takeaway for you, listening, before your next big event, take some time to think about who you want to connect with.
Yeah.
Is there someone you've been meaning to meet?
Yeah.
Someone who could be valuable to your career, personal life?
Exactly.
Do a little research. See if they'll be there.
Exactly. It's about being intentional with your networking. Now, point 2 is when. And you won't catch a seasoned politician sauntering in fashionably late. They understand the power of timing.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Oh, tell me more.
They often eat before the party.
Really?
I'm picturing them sneaking a sandwich in the limo on the way there.
That's hilarious. But you know what? It's a strategic move. It frees up their hands for shaking hands, exchanging business cards,
That's true.
gesturing free. Imagine trying to, have a meaningful conversation while you're juggling a plate of appetizers and a drink.
Seriously. And it's also about being present
Yeah.
and fully engaged.
Yeah, you don't want to be distracted.
They don't want to be distracted by hunger pangs or worrying about spilling something on themselves.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all about projecting that confidence. And boys.
It's about looking good while you're doing it.
Absolutely. And it's not just about arrival time. They're also strategic about when they leave. Politicians rarely overstay their welcome.
Oh, that's your point.
Once they've accomplished what they set out to do, they make a graceful exit, leaving people wanting more.
Okay, so takeaway number 2, time is precious. Be mindful of when you arrive and depart. You don't have to be the first one there.
Yeah.
But avoid that awkward late entrance. And
Check.
when you feel like you've made meaningful connections and the energy starts to wane, don't be afraid to say your goodbyes.
Leave them wanting more, as they say.
Okay.
Now, point 3 on the checklist is what? And this is all about the tools of the trade.
Okay.
Now, we're not just talking about breath mints. And a snazzy pocket square here. Politicians pack strategically.
Business cards galore.
Yes.
Maybe a stylish pen, and the real secret weapon, a small notepad.
Oh, this is brilliant. I love this. It's all about capturing those valuable nuggets of information that often get lost in the whirlwind of a party.
Did someone mention an upcoming project that you'd love to be involved in? A shared interest that could spark a deeper connection? Write it down.
Jot it down, absolutely.
So when you follow up later, you can reference those details. It shows that you were really listening.
Yes. And it makes people feel seen and remembered. It takes you from being just another face in the crowd to someone who genuinely cares about the people they meet.
Okay, that's point 3. Now on to point 4. This one is all about seeing beyond the surface, understanding the hidden dynamics of the gathering. Politicians are masters of what Lowndes calls penetrating the ostensible.
Ooh, I love that. Penetrating the ostensible. It's like they have X-ray vision.
Okay, what does that even mean?
Well, it's about understanding the subtext. The unspoken agendas that might be at play. Let's say there's, a big company anniversary party.
Okay.
On the surface, it's a celebration, right?
Yeah. But a savvy politician, they might realize that the company is actually struggling. And this party is a way to generate positive PR, or maybe attract potential investors.
It's like they're playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
Exactly. They're seeing the bigger picture.
So by understanding the deeper motives behind the event, they can tailor their interactions accordingly.
Absolutely.
They can be more helpful, more supportive, and ultimately more valuable to the host.
Yeah. It's about being perceptive and strategic. And I think it's important to note, it's not about being manipulative.
Oh, that's a good distinction.
Yeah, it's about being attuned to the nuances of the situation and responding in a way that's both genuine and effective.
Okay, on to point 5, where. This is all about understanding the collective mind of the party. So if a politician knows that a gathering will be mostly doctors, they might brush up on the latest medical breakthroughs. If it's a group of artists, they'll familiarize themselves with current trends in the art world. Yeah, it's about doing your research and tailoring your conversations to the interests of the people you'll be interacting with. It shows that you value their expertise and that you're genuinely interested in what they have to say.
It's about finding common ground and sparking, meaningful conversation.
Exactly.
And finally, point 6, how. This one's all about follow-up.
Most people exchange business cards at events and they're like, let's stay in touch. But it rarely happens.
Yeah, it's like the kiss of death.
But politicians, they're masters of the follow-up.
Yeah, they have a system.
They do.
They might send a handwritten note, make a phone call, or connect on social media.
Yeah, they're good about that.
But they always make sure to follow through.
And it's not just about staying top of mind either. It's about nurturing those connections.
Yeah. Turning those initial encounters into something more.
Exactly, something more meaningful.
Okay, so I have to admit, the 6-point party checklist, pretty impressive.
It's pretty good, yeah.
It's like a blueprint for building relationships strategically.
Yeah, I like that. A blueprint.
But okay, I have a confession.
Yeah.
Even with the best pre-party plan, I still get a little nervous.
Oh, about what?
About those initial approaches. Walking up to someone I don't know and starting a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's something we all struggle with to some degree.
Small talk. Ugh.
I know, but, Lowndes has some really great techniques to make those approaches feel, I think, more natural.
Less intimidating.
Less intimidating, yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to body language, right?
Absolutely.
Like projecting confidence and approachability before we even say a word.
Exactly. And Lowndes, she uses this great analogy. She compares the way we position ourselves at a party to how furniture is arranged in a room.
Okay. I like that.
Some rooms just feel inviting, you know? And, well, the same goes for people.
Okay, so what kind of body furniture should we be aiming for?
It's all about openness and approachability. Think about it. If you're standing with your arms crossed,
clutching a drink tightly, you're basically putting up a wall.
Yeah, you're like, stay away, I'm not interested in talking.
Exactly. But if you keep your arms uncrossed, maybe hold your drink down by your side and just have a, relaxed, pleasant expression.
Yeah.
You're basically saying, hey, I'm open to connecting. It's like opening a door to conversation.
And speaking of open doors, remember the come hither hands?
Oh, yes.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yes.
Lowndes says even our wrists and palms are sending out messages.
Subliminal messaging.
It's incredible how much of our communication happens. Like on a subconscious level, we might not even be aware of, like the signals we're sending,
Right. Right.
but they're definitely influencing how others perceive us.
They are. First impressions matter.
So I need to practice my come hither hands. Palms up, relaxed wrists. What else can we do with our bodies to project that approachable vibe?
Positioning is key. Don't hide in the corner or cling to the snack table.
Oh, I'm so guilty of that. Think like a politician. Position yourself near a doorway, a high traffic area where people are naturally flowing through.
I can see how that works.
You become more visible and accessible.
You're not lurking in the shadows. You're part of the energy of the room.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm guessing, like, eye contact is important too.
Oh, absolutely.
Not in a creepy staring way.
No, not at all. But just acknowledging people, making those visual connections.
Yeah.
Eye contact is essential for establishing rapport. It shows that you're engaged and present. And Lowndes talks about this technique she calls rubberneck the room.
Okay, I'm picturing someone in a tennis match, head swiveling back and forth.
Right. But the idea is when you enter a room, you kind of pause for a moment and you deliberately scan the scene.
Okay.
It's not about being a show-off. It's about taking it all in,
Yeah.
making those initial eye contacts, and establishing your presence.
I like that. It's like you're taking control of the situation
Yeah.
before it even starts.
Absolutely. You're not waiting to be noticed. You're actively engaging with the environment.
And that sense of confidence, that's so attractive. Okay, so you've established your presence.
Yeah.
You've spotted someone you'd like to talk to. How do you actually make that approach?
That's the million-dollar question.
That's the part that makes my heart race.
Yeah.
I can picture myself awkwardly standing there with a lukewarm drink in my hand, trying to come up with the perfect opening line.
The pressure is on.
I know.
Yeah.
But Lowndes, she has this, like, surprisingly simple approach.
Ah, tell me more.
She calls it, be the chooser, not the choosy. Don't wait for people to approach you. Take the initiative.
I like that. Be the chooser.
Yeah, I can see how that works for, like, extroverts.
Yeah.
Who naturally love to, like, initiate conversations.
Right.
But what about people who are more introverted?
Yeah, that can feel really draining.
I know.
It's definitely a challenge. But I think the principle still applies. It's about shifting your mindset from passive to active, from waiting to be chosen to choosing who you want to connect with.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be this, like, big, bold move. Even a small gesture, like catching someone's eye and smiling, can be an invitation.
Yeah, a little nonverbal cue.
You're putting yourself out there in a way that feels authentic. And for those of us who are more introverted, maybe it's about setting a smaller goal, like approaching just one or two new people.
Yeah, that's a good starting point.
Something manageable.
Exactly. It's about challenging yourself in a way that feels empowering. Now, once you've made that initial approach, what do you actually say?
I'm imagining, like, all those cheesy pickup lines from bad movies.
Yeah. Like, what's your sign? No. Lowndes has a much more effective approach.
Oh, good.
She suggests a really simple opener like, hi, I'm your name.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you.
It sounds almost too basic, but I can see how it works.
It is basic. It's direct. It's honest. And it shows that you're confident. It takes the pressure off trying to come up with something, clever or witty. It's just about being genuine and expressing your interest in connecting. And then once you've broken the ice, Lowndes suggests a technique she calls tracking.
Tracking. That sounds a little intense, like I'm following them around the party.
No, not.
Taking notes on their every move.
Tracking is about remembering and referencing small details about the people you meet.
Okay.
Like, did they mention they love to cook?
Uh-huh.
Next time you see them, you can be like, hey, have you tried that new Thai restaurant downtown?
It's making them feel seen and remembered.
Yeah.
Like you were actually paying attention to what they said.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything major. It could be as simple as remembering their dog's name
Oh, yeah.
or asking about a project they mentioned. Those little details, they make a huge difference in building rapport.
It's like you're saying, you're not just another face in the crowd to me. I actually care about what you have to say.
Exactly. It's a subtle but powerful way to create a sense of connection and to make people feel valued. And here's the thing. It's not about memorizing a bunch of facts about someone. It's about genuinely being interested in them.
That makes sense. It has to come from a place of authentic curiosity.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, I think that's a good reminder for all of us, whether we're at a party or just interacting with people in our everyday lives.
Absolutely. It's about being present and attentive. And when you do that, those little details, they'll naturally stick with you.
Okay, now you're in a conversation.
Right.
How do you keep it flowing? Keep people engaged?
Right. You don't want those awkward silences.
That's the part where I sometimes feel like I'm fumbling. I
Yeah.
start rambling, or I ask like really awkward questions.
Yeah. We've all been there.
I can just see their eyes glazing over.
It's like, okay, where's the exit?
Exactly.
But Lowndes, she has a technique for this too. She calls it eyeball selling.
Eyeball selling.
Yeah.
That sounds a little intense, like I'm trying to hypnotize them
No.
into buying something they don't need.
It's not about manipulation. It's about being attuned to the subtle signals
Okay.
your conversation partner is sending.
So it's not about staring them down.
Right. No, not at all.
It's about reading their body language,
Yeah.
their facial expressions, seeing if they're actually interested in what I'm saying.
Exactly. Are they leaning in, nodding, making eye contact, or are they looking away, fidgeting, checking their phone?
Yeah.
Their body is constantly telling you whether they're engaged, bored, or maybe even uncomfortable.
This is blowing my mind. I'm starting to realize how much I've been missing.
I know. It's like a whole secret language.
It's like a whole new world of communication.
It is a whole new world. And once you start, paying attention to those nonverbal cues,
Yeah.
you can kind of adjust your approach in real time.
Oh, interesting.
So if you're telling a story and you notice their eyes glazing over, maybe it's time to wrap it up or change the subject.
Yeah.
Or if they're leaning in and asking questions, that's a good sign to keep going.
So it's about being responsive, adaptable, and
Yeah.
truly engaging with the person you're talking to. It's not about, delivering a perfectly rehearsed monologue. It's about creating that genuine connection.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes Lowndes' techniques, so effective.
Yeah.
They're not about tricks or manipulation, They're about tapping into the fundamental principles of, human interaction.
How we connect to each other on a deeper level.
Exactly.
And honestly, I think this is something we could all use a little more of in our lives.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in this age of, digital distraction.
I agree. We're so used to communicating through screens that we sometimes forget how to truly connect face to face.
It's a lost art.
It is.
Okay, well, I'm feeling so much more confident and empowered already. It's like Lowndes has given us, this amazing toolkit
Yeah, it's like a Swiss Army knife of communication skills.
for building relationships and navigating social situations.
Yeah, with grace and ease.
And the best part is these techniques, they aren't just for parties or networking events.
No, not at all.
They can be applied to any interaction, whether you're chatting with a colleague, catching up with a friend, or even having a difficult conversation with, a loved one.
It's about being present, being intentional, truly listening to what the other person is saying,
Yeah.
both verbally and non-verbally.
That's what makes these techniques so powerful. They help us, create more meaningful, fulfilling connections with the people around us.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway.
Well, I think we've successfully navigated the intricate world of conversation today.
I think we did it.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to go out there and put these techniques into practice.
Me too.
And for you listening, we hope you feel the same way. Go forth and conquer those conversations. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present, being genuine, and being open to connecting with those amazing people all around you. And who knows, you might just surprise yourself with how much you enjoyed the journey.